What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, I'm here to talk about and review the latest Scream Factor release, Fire in the Sky. I am very excited to talk about this one. I was very excited when Scream Factory announced this one because I've heard great things about the movie, and I didn't want to have to import that imprint release. I was excited to be able to pick this up from Scream Factory, and this does have a new 4K scan and restoration, which we're going to get into in a second. But yeah, we're going to talk about the movie. I'm going to talk about the transfer, special features, all that good stuff, paint an overall picture of whether or not this is worth picking up. I will leave the link down below in the description. But before we get into it, I have to ask, I have to do the YouTube thing. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Do you like Blu-rays and 4Ks and physical media and owning the movies that you love? The answer to all those questions is yes, you will enjoy this channel. Just tons of Blu-ray 4K content, some DVD as well, every single day on this channel. So hit the subscribe button. Also like this video and comment down below if you've seen the movie Fire in the Sky. It's an almost 30-year-old movie from 1993. So I imagine that a lot of people have seen this. Let me know your thoughts on the movie, and also let me know if you're going to purchase this one from Scream Factor as well, or if you've already purchased it and watched it, and just what do you think of this overall release. I'm definitely going to be giving you my thoughts as well, and turn on those bell notifications so they're all that good YouTube stuff. So let's get into the movie first. So I've heard a lot of really great things about this movie. For the longest time, it feels like I've heard that it's really scary, just really atmospheric, just a really great 90s alien abduction movie. I am terrified of this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what it is, but alien abduction will get me every time if it's done correctly. Like, Signs is one of my all-time favorite movies, M. Night Shyamalan Signs. And that movie terrified me when I saw it in theaters. That scene where the alien just comes across the screen and Joaquin Phoenix jumps in the closet. We all know what that one is. I love that scene in that movie. And then the sequence at the end of VHS 2, the found footage movie, is terrifying as well. So like alien abduction stuff, it just creeps me out. So I was hoping to get those creepy feels with this one. Again, came out in 1993, directed by Robert Lieberman, which I was trying to look at some of the stuff that he's done before. He's directed a lot of TV. He's done a lot of episodes of The X-Files, a lot of science. The Expanse, I think, is a newer show. He's done a lot of science fiction, The Dead Zone, a lot of science fiction TV in the past few years, but not too many movies in his filmography. I think he had like The Mighty Ducks 3 or something in his filmography, which is like completely random. But I'd say overall as a director, he does a really good job with this movie. I definitely think he has a knack for directing this kind of science fiction, cinema for sure. Great cast in this movie. You got Peter Berg, who did a lot of acting in the 90s and I think in the 2000s as well, but he's more known for being a director now. He's done a lot of stuff with Mark Wahlberg. He's done The Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, Patriots Day. Just a lot of really good movies now with Mark Wahlberg. Probably the only good movies that Mark Wahlberg does, quite frankly, is with Peter Berg nowadays. And Craig Schaefer, James Garner, like I said, Robert Patrick, who is pretty much like I grew up knowing him as a T-1000. He actually gets a chance to flex his acting capabilities in this movie, and I was actually really impressed with Robert Patrick's performance in this. Henry Thomas is in this movie, but he's honestly like in the movie for maybe 10 minutes. Like he maybe has 5 lines of dialogue the whole film. It's just enough to be like, hey, that's Henry Thomas from E.T. I know Henry Thomas has done a lot of stuff in his career, but he's kind of a nothing part in this movie. He's just a part of the crew, the logging crew. So the story of this one, again, based on a true story. This happened on November 5th of 1975, so it's kind of a period piece. It takes place in the 70s, but it was shot in the 90s, and it's in White Mountains, northern Arizona, is where this supposedly took place. But yeah, it's an alien abduction film based on a true story. A group of loggers out in the woods finishing their job. They're on their way back, home. And they see like this, what it looks to be like the forest is on fire, like the fire in the sky. So they get curious, they go up to it. Guy gets out of the car, goes right underneath the UFO and gets sucked up into it. And then his friends are left to explain what happened to their friend and co-worker to everybody in the town, and nobody believes them. Everybody thinks that they murdered him, that they had hid the body and all that stuff. So it kind of turns most of this movie, and this is where I'll get into a little bit of my disappointment with the film. It's not a lot of alien science fiction stuff. It's more or less this crew kind of having to explain themselves to everybody and nobody believing them. And so it kind of gets into this like murder investigation type of thing where they have to take lie detector tests, like everybody's, you know, in the towns, like giving them dirty looks and stuff when they're walking in, which is kind of interesting. It's an interesting way to tell the story. I would have rather, I think, preferred if they didn't show the UFO stuff in the beginning of the movie, if they left it more open to interpretation, that way throughout the whole movie you would have been left guessing like what actually happened. And then maybe towards the end, because they do that with the actual UFO alien stuff, like showing everything inside the ship, that stuff's at the end. So maybe they could have saved the part where he got actually sucked up into the UFO at the end as well, and then you could have went back, and that could have been like a revelation to the movie. But again, nobody knows what actually happened in this story. Obviously, there's no footage of that, so that's left open for interpretation as well. A lot of people say that, you know, it was a hoax. They did it to make money on all this stuff. There's various stories of what actually happened with this event. But yeah, based on true events, I liked the movie. I did like the movie, but I'm going to say overall, I didn't find it to be that scary, and that was a little bit of a disappointment in and of itself. It's really just a straightforward movie. I think it's a Paramount movie. I think Paramount did this one. Just a very traditional, like 90s style movie with some good performances, some good acting. It felt like an actual legitimate movie. I felt like it was just going to be like more of a deeper like sci-fi horror type film. Maybe a little bit more B level, maybe a little bit more cheesy, but definitely more scary is what I thought it end up being. I just felt like there wasn't a ton of atmosphere, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Even when they showed the alien stuff, you know, with him having the flashbacks inside the ship, which I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it. I'm going to try to keep the spoilers light if you haven't seen this movie, but I didn't really find that to be that scary as well. I mean, all the aliens were pretty traditional and just what you would expect an alien to look like. But this was in 1993, so I imagine, you know, at that point we'd had Close Encounters of the Third Kind, we'd had Alien and Aliens. So you had, you know, your alien movies to kind of live up to. One thing I thought was cool, though, is they did the zero gravity stuff in the spaceship, and the director was talking about that in the special feature, how nobody had ever really done space that way before. So I thought that was cool that they were one of the first ones to do it that way, because he talked about how in all the other movies that were set in space, everybody was just feet on the ground, and that's not how it would be, because obviously there's no gravity in space. So they did a good job with that for sure. But yeah, like I said, it's just really a straightforward movie. I thought there would be just a little bit more to it in terms of atmosphere, in terms of scares. I just thought there'd be a little bit more of that creep factor, but it's really just a straightforward like alien abduction. The part that honestly like I thought was the most unsettling is where they first find him again when he comes back down, and he like lets out this like shrill, this scream that feels almost alien-like in itself. Like that was the creepiest, most unsettling part to me. But and just the way it wraps up too, because they do that thing where he's like getting therapy, and they kind of really dive into what happens, and they show that whole sequence in space and everything with him and the aliens and all that stuff. It kind of gets into a little bit of body horror there for a second. When all that's done, it's like everything's okay again, and he's like has kids with a woman that he loves, and he feels like he's leading a normal life, and that just didn't feel super realistic to me. But and then him and Robert Patrick's relationship together, I thought they had, you know, good chemistry together. I thought it was a sweet story between two friends, just the way that it ended up. So I did like the way it ended there. And like I said, Robert Patrick, who's known mostly for genre films, and he even talked about it in his special feature, how at this point in his career he was trying to get out of that. He was diving into roles that were requiring a little bit more of him from an acting perspective. And I thought he did an excellent job in this movie. I'm surprised he didn't get more like big acting roles because of this film, because I thought he brought a lot to his performance in this movie. He was definitely the best performance in this entire film. So I definitely think a little bit more of Robert Patrick right now, besides his T-1000 role and his role in The Faculty, which I kind of grew up with him. So really solid movie overall. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. It's just I can't help but be a little bit disappointed. I was wanting to be scared, and I didn't really get that from this movie. But some cool space stuff, like I said. You know, there's a little bit of horror here, but it's really just kind of a straightforward, it's a story of friendship, and like I said, it goes into more like the murder investigation aspect of it. So the science fiction doesn't really come into play too much, like a little bit in the beginning, a little bit at the end, or about 20-30 minutes at the end, I guess. So yeah, overall, I'll give this a 3.5 out of 5. Again, it's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. It's a nice, 90s science fiction film with a little bit of horror elements. So I did enjoy the movie. And getting into the transfer, I thought Screen Factor did a good job. This is a new 4K scan from the original film Elements, and I thought that it looked really great. Just really clear, really clean. The colors are really vibrant. Like when they first see that alien ship in the forest, you like the oranges and stuff that it shows. It all looks crystal clear. There's a room that they go into, like when the science fiction, and that's another issue I have with the film. They brought in like these UFO researchers in, and they like crowd around him like when they first discover him, and then they're just kind of taken out of the movie, like nothing they did really matters. So it kind of felt a little inconsequential to the story overall. But there's a scene where they're like basically like trying to do tests on him and stuff as soon as they find him, and they're in this red room. All that stuff looked excellent. So great facial detail. The saturation levels are just like right on point, and I thought it looked great. It was a great transfer, and I think it's a new transfer. I don't think it's the same transfer as the imprint release or anything. So I thought Screen Factory did a really good job on this. I think that people that are fans of this film that haven't seen it since like the VHS or DVD era are going to be very satisfied with this transfer. Getting into the audio, this is a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, so standard sound for most Screen Factor releases. I thought everything sounded good, but again, I'm just listening to stuff on a soundbar. I don't have that surround sound set up, so I imagine it probably sounds pretty cool with the surround sound though, especially some of those space sequences and stuff. But yeah, getting into the special features, there is a new interview with director Robert Lieberman. Now, one thing I'm going to note on these interviews in here, I don't know if the actor D.B. Sweeney and actor Robert Patrick interviews are new or not, because they don't say that they're new, but they're filmed in the exact same way that the Robert Lieberman is, and they're saying the Robert Lieberman one is new. So the one thing I wanted to point out though is you don't see them actually give the interview, so it's not traditional. It's more like a commentary. They're like playing footage of the film over top of them while they're talking. So I did think that was kind of interesting. I do like, when I'm watching an interview, to be able to actually see the person that's talking. But these were filmed like kind of like commentary. So I did think that was interesting and something to note there with the special features. But you do get those 3 interviews. You get actually 4 interviews, because you get another interview with composer Mark Isham. Like I said, I don't know if those interviews are new. The Robert Lieberman one though is supposed to be new on here. Photo gallery, theatrical trailer, so all the standard stuff. So good, a decent amount of special features here. Some good special features, just diving into the film and giving you all some insight just on this film and how it was created and how it was kind of molded from the story from 1975, based on the true story from 1975. So interesting stuff there. And yeah, packaging, pretty basic. I wish they would have done a slipcover with this, I got to be honest, but I'll kind of zoom in and show you all the special features right there, and the casting and the specs, and let you guys read the synopsis and all that good stuff. You could see I do like the poster on this though, or the cover on it. And I will say, like the title screen, like when you're loading this up, is super awesome, because it like slowly shows the guy like going up in it's really cool. I'm going to try to play it over here as I'm talking about it. But overall, this is a solid release. Is it solid enough for me to recommend buying at $25, which is what this currently is priced at? I don't think I can recommend it at quite that much. I would say it's worth at least $20. So if it goes on sale for $20, I definitely recommend picking it up. But it really just depends on, are you a big fan of this movie? Have you seen it before? Is it a blind buy or is it not? If it's a blind buy, I recommend you probably wait. If it's a movie that you love and you want to see in the best possible format, it definitely delivers on that. The transfer is absolutely impeccable, amazing. One of the best that Screen Factory has done this year as far as Blu-ray transfer. So definitely recommend it for that. But yeah, $25, it's just a little bit too much for this kind of bare bones non-collector's edition release from Screen Factory. So yeah, I'm done reviewing this. I appreciate everybody watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already for more reviews and physical media content on this channel. Definitely like this video and comment down below your thoughts on this. If you're going to purchase it based on my recommendation, I will be leaving the link down below for purchase. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are in the description, and we'll see you next time.